Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. Joining me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey,
Hello.
and the Lord of Puppies, SDA.
Hi, guys.
And I'm your host, Scribelight, the Lord of Not Kevin Spacey. I already know a little bit of how Ranting Monkey is doing tonight. Monkey, do you want to share, or shall we move on?
We cover it real fast. We've been dealing with that fucking bathroom again.
Again? Oh, yeah.
Again.
Why am I shocked? I already read that.
Yeah. No. What you read, we thought we had fixed, and it's again. So let me put that on top.
No, I know what happened today. I'm just like, for whatever reason, you said it, and I was like, oh my God, again?
Right before stream, I thought we had it fixed, and before stream, I went to pee, and the toilet is still leaking underneath, which I am not a happy person. On the other hand, I got to see my youngest today. He
yay!
He made it up for one day to visit with his grandparents, and as it happens, with his parents as well. So I'm focusing on the good right now because fuck that bathroom.
No, I'm glad you got to see Sunky.
Me too. I miss the little guy.
Wait,
yeah, I told my father-in-law.
Is he a midget?
Oh no, but
no, Monkey's not that.
He's actually taller than his dad.
Okay.
So I told my father-in-law that I was so happy that my son was coming home. He's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because I don't get to see him, but every few months." He goes, "Yeah, try only seeing your child once every couple of years." Like, all right, you win. Like, fuck you.
Thank you, tall person. I'm glad I caught this before it moved up too far because $2 don't get notified. Happy National Sandwich Day, everybody.
Ew. I don't like sandwiches.
I bought a sandwich.
Unless they're from Subway.
It
has to be from Subway, though. It can't be from any other sandwich place, or I'm like, nope. Like if my mom goes to Jersey Mike's, like she still goes to Subway for me.
Subway is too much bread these days. I used to like it. Back in the day when I was your age, they had good sandwiches.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Thank you, Sanguine. Research ad. Ugh. A movie about Tuchulain. Okay.
Oh, chat's a little bit upset with me. But okay, here's the thing though. I fully acknowledge that out of all the places you could go to get sandwiches, Subway is absolutely not the best place to go. I agree. I just don't like sandwiches from anywhere else.
Okay. Do we have anything to cover before we get to the news?
Bay and I are doing a book club with Bay. We're going to do the second book in the Alpha and Omega series on Sunday.
Okay. Monkey?
No.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You got family and toilet. Toilet is family.
Yeah.
Family is toilet.
Fucking toilet.
I may be doing a little one-off quick stream on Sunday talking about Stranger Things and Stranger Things 2, just because I finished that series the other day, and I have some things to say about it. So we'll see. No confirm yet, but it'll happen or it won't. We're not sure yet. Let's see what else we got in the chat. Scribe light test.
Yeah.
Your boy Pat said, "Let's get right into the news," and I want to hear you do a Keemstar. Let's get right into the news.
Oh, I don't know if I can. See, you put me on the spot. If I was just fucking around, I could do it, but maybe later.
What is up, Drummer Alert Nation? I'm your host,
Killer Keemstar.
Killer Scribe Light. Let's get right into the news.
Funky.
That's my best attempt.
Not at the moment.
Aww, spunky.
All right. So start off with some international news before we get into the latest Hollywood dramas. Spain has issued an arrest warrant for ex-Catalan president Charles, however you say it, Puigdemont. If I'm saying that correctly. A Spanish judge issued an international arrest warrant for ousted Catalan President Charles Puigdemont on Friday, one day after 8 fellow members of the dissolved Catalan government were jailed in Spain. Puigdemont, who considers himself the rightful leader of Catalonia, is currently in Belgium. He said he's not fleeing the Spanish court system, but instead is seeking European support for his region's independence bid. I don't think the European Union is really big on countries claiming independence at this stage of the game. I got a feeling. I don't know. Carmen Lamela, a judge in Spain's national court, asked Belgium's prosecutor's office to arrest Puigdemont and 4 ministers in the dissolved Catalan government who ignored a court order to appear before a judge Thursday. The charges include sedition, rebellion, misuse of funds, abuse of authority, and contempt. The other 4 people named in warrants are Tony Comyn, Clara Ponsati, Luis Puig, and Marizel Serret, I think. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. That's basically it. It just, it's weird to have to try to have a breakaway country now is being hunted down by the parent country.
We talked about this before when the whole thing happened. You can't just declare that you're a new part or a new country, even if you have different customs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Europe's not going to save you. This isn't the 1800s. You're fucked. Just turn yourself in and call it good.
Yeah. So Northern California and Texas, take notes.
Yeah.
Because if you decide to try this at some point in the future, I can't say the same won't be happening.
Yeah. You're not allowed to just claim land anymore. Not in the civilized world. Yeah.
Plant your flag. What was that movie with Tom Cruise and Far and Away, where they did the land grab or whatever? Because
that's how things used to happen.
Yeah, in the good old days. There's not a whole lot of like super duper political news today. I mean, there's a little bit like back and forth nasty talking between senators and stuff about different things. The one interesting thing that happened today that's kind of national-ish news, Bo Bergdahl. Remember Bo Bergdahl?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Bo Bergdahl, for those of you that don't know, in the very, very truncated version, several years ago in 2009, Bo Bergdahl was a soldier who abandoned his post in Afghanistan.
Real quick, thank you for saying it that way. Because he was captured. Thank you for mentioning that this fucker actually abandoned his post. I'm sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no, same here, because he just kind of got whisked away. Who knows how? No, the motherfucker left.
Thank you, Satsu. Oh, sorry, what?
Oh, I was just thanking you again.
Oh, okay. Satsu, thank you. Nice Keem impression scribe SDA Final Fantasy 14 tomorrow? ?
Oh, yeah. I'm getting my hair done at 1:30. So after that, I should be able to.
Okay.
I don't know how long it'll take because, we're dyeing it. I'm I don't know exactly what she's going to do.
What color?
I'm just doing... So my hair is naturally dark red, so I can't dye it any other color than red. So what we're going to do is, some, ginger ombre stuff at the bottom of it.
Oh. Okay.
Go Ronald McDonald.
There you go.
I actually my hair will actually retain fire engine red, but if I tried to dye it black, professionally got it dyed black, and it wouldn't fucking stay black. And it's annoying.
There's a joke in there somewhere, but I'll let it sit. Let's see. So he abandoned his post in Afghanistan 2009, and shortly thereafter he was kidnapped by the Taliban and held for some 5 years. And then was released in a prisoner exchange, I think it was. And then he spent the last 3 years in custody awaiting trial as they went into crazy deep investigation. There's a really, I think it's the second season of the podcast Serial goes into super deep depth about his going AWOL, his capture, his detainment, and everything else. It plays it fairly neutral as a documentary. So if you're interested in the story or all the weird stuff in the background of it, that's a good one to go to. But anyway, today he had his sentence handed down for having committed this act in 2009. And it's a lot lighter than I would have expected. Bo
Of course
Bergdahl
it is.
he received a dishonorable discharge from the U.S. Army, but will avoid prison time for desertion and misbehavior before the enemy after abandoning his outpost in Afghanistan in 2009. The judge ordered that Bergdahl's rank be reduced from sergeant to private. Additionally, Bergdahl will be required to pay a $1,000 fine from his salary for the next 10 months. Quote, Sergeant Bergdahl has looked forward to today for a long time, Eugene Fidel, Bergdahl's civilian attorney, said in a news conference. As everyone knows, he was a captive of the Taliban for nearly 5 years, and 3 more years have elapsed while the legal process unfolded. He has lost nearly a decade of his life. The sentence is effective immediately, except for the dishonorable discharge, which Bergdahl is appealing.
What about like the soldiers who went out looking for him who lost their entire lives? What about them?
Yeah.
But I'm so sorry that you lost a fucking decade, asshat. I'm sorry. This pisses me off.
Let's see. But government prosecutors said Bergdahl was aware of the risks when he deserted and that doing so put his fellow soldiers in danger. Soldiers who searched for Bergdahl after he deserted were called to testify and shared stories of the grueling conditions they endured while looking for him. One witness, Captain John Billings, was Bergdahl's platoon leader in Afghanistan. Billings said the platoon searched for the then private first class for 19 days, going without food or water. Retired Navy SEAL Chief Petty Officer James Hatch testified that he and his dog came under fire while looking for Bergdahl. He was shot in the leg, and his canine partner, Remco, was shot in the face and killed. Quote, I thought I was dead, said Hatch, who now walks with a heavy limp after 18 surgeries. He said he was concerned because there was little time to plan the search for Bergdahl, and other soldiers knew he had willfully walked away. When asked why he would go searching for Bergdahl, Hatch said, he is an American. He had a mom. Bergdahl tearfully apologized this week to the service members who searched for him. Quote, my words can't take away what people have been through, he said. I am admitting I made a horrible mistake. And let's see. Following the sentencing, President Donald Trump tweeted that the decision was a, quote, complete and total disgrace to our country and to our military. Bergdahl became a political talking point in 2014 after President Barack Obama's administration traded 5 detainees at Guantanamo Bay in exchange for his release. In February, Bergdahl's defense team argued he was unable to have a fair trial after Donald Trump became president because of comments Trump made on the 2016 campaign trail. During the campaign, Trump called Bergdahl a dirty, rotten traitor and said he should be shot for deserting his post. Quote, in the good old days, he would have been executed, Trump said.
Sorry.
And let's see. And here's, since his return home to the United States, 31-year-old from Idaho has been the subject of scrutiny while the U.S. military investigated his decision to leave his post. Bergdahl has said he abandoned his post because he wanted to travel to a larger base to report, quote, a critical problem in my chain of command, unquote, though he did not specify what the problem was. He was charged with desertion and misbehavior before the enemy in March 2015. Kenneth Dahl, the Army general who led the investigation into Bergdahl's actions and interviewed the soldier for a day and a half, previously testified in a preliminary hearing that jail time would be, quote, inappropriate. During his time in captivity, Bergdahl said he was tortured, beaten, and spent months chained to a bed or locked in a cage while his health deteriorated. For 5 years, he said he was completely isolated, had no concept of time, and was told he would be killed and never see his family again. And that's the end of the article.
Yeah, it sucks that he got tortured, but you did it yourself, jackass. Oh, something for this kid, but
I don't feel anything for him other than absolute contempt. Hey, how come Satsy doesn't have a wrench?
Because he's black.
Yeah, well, Monkey said it and Satsu said it a couple of seconds ago.
You should give Satsy a wrench.
Should. So it's a question of opinion then, is it?
Oh, all right. Satsu, Scribe hates you, and
yeah. Well, like your hair, Scribe can't hold black.
Wah. That's funny. Let's see. So there was Spain. There was Bergdahl. Hey kids, do you like Hollywood scandals?
Kinda, yeah.
So the latest Weinstein allegations could lead to an arrest. The latest sexual assault allegations against Harvey Weinstein could result in the first criminal charges against the movie mogul, an NYPD source familiar with the investigation told CNN. Quote, "This is the strongest case we've had that fits within the statute of limitations," the source said, adding some detectives believe they have enough evidence to arrest Weinstein. At a press conference Friday, New York Police Department Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce described actress Paz de la Huerta's case as credible because of her, quote, "ability to articulate each movement of the crime, where she was, and where this happened." The Manhattan District Attorney's Office told CNN they have a sex crimes prosecutor assigned to an active investigation into the alleged incidents. De la Huerta, who has appeared in A Walk to Remember and the HBO drama Boardwalk Empire, alleges Weinstein raped her in her apartment on 2 separate occasions in 2010. In an interview with CNN, De La Huerta, 33, said she called the New York Police Department rape hotline last week to report the alleged assaults. De La Huerta and her attorney have since been working with detectives from the NYPD Special Victims Unit and the District Attorney's Office, she said. 7 years? Took 7 years to call the cops. In October,
she has a photographic memory, apparently.
Yeah. In October 2010, 12 years after first meeting Weinstein on the set of the film Cider House Rules, De La Huerta said she ran into the producer at a club in Manhattan's Tribeca neighborhood where both she and Weinstein lived. She accepted a ride home from Weinstein, and when they arrived at her apartment, she said he insisted on joining her for a drink. That's when the first alleged assault occurred. Quote, "He pulled my dress up and unzipped his pants and raped me," she said. In an interview with CNN, she said she recalled being in a state of shock, traumatized, and in disbelief following the alleged rape. Quote, "He finished what he did, and he told me he'd be calling me," she said. Nearly 2 months later, she said Weinstein showed up in the lobby of her apartment one night. She said she reluctantly let him upstairs, and he raped her again.
Why?
Quote, "The first time I was in complete shock and it happened so quickly. The second time I was terrified of him," she said. "In a million ways, I knew how to say no. I said no."
Well, then don't let him into your house.
This is confusing.
Look, rape is still rape. No means no. But why this is the prevention stuff. Don't let a rapist into your fucking house.
That's basically where the story ends. They're working with the authorities on it. So,
and if he did it, I hope he spends the rest of his miserable life in prison. I really do. But why? Why?
Wait 7 years and I don't know. It's just, I don't understand. I don't understand. But anyway, how about some more Kevin Spacey news?
Oh, what do you do now?
Oh, well,
or what do you do then?
Well, it's not what he did. It's what has happened to him. Kevin Spacey's agent and publicist bail amid growing sexual harassment scandal. Kevin Spacey was having a hard enough time responding to sexual harassment allegations already. Now his team is giving up on him. Spacey's talent agency CAA is no longer representing the House of Cards actor after a week full of allegations against him. Spacey's publicist, Stacey Wolf, has also parted ways with the actor. And then, in a separate story, but related all the same, Kevin Spacey plans to seek evaluation and treatment amid scandal. He's going for rehab.
Treatment?
He's going for rehab. The list of allegations facing Kevin Spacey continues to grow after actor Anthony Rapp accused Spacey of making unwanted sexual advances on him when he was 14. On Wednesday night, Spacey's representative Stacey Wolf shared this statement. Quote, "Kevin Spacey is taking the time necessary to seek evaluation and treatment. No other information is available at this time," she told USA Today.
Hey, Spunky, if there was a treatment for dirty old man, what do you think? You think he'd go to rehab?
Fuck no, I like me.
But isn't that weird that it's like, oh, they're going to rehab? Like, for what?
Yeah, I'm really curious what kind of rehab this is.
I know, right? Like, all right, Mr. Spacey, you shouldn't rape 14-year-old boys. And he's like, oh, fuck, really? God,
the only thing I can think of is feminist camp where they teach men not to rape.
Yeah, like they tell him, hey, getting drunk and raping 14 or like, feeling up 14-year-old boys is bad. And he's like, oh my God, are you serious? Like, God. And they're like, you know what? It's even illegal. And he's like, holy shit. Nobody told me that rape was illegal.
Well, in his case, I guarantee it'll be Alcoholics Anonymous because he used the alcohol defense.
Yeah.
I was drunk.
Well, being drunk once
anyway, I
doesn't make you an alcoholic.
Didn't mean to get you off track there, Scribbles.
Let's see. So Netflix has shut down production of the 6th and final seasons of House of Cards until further notice, probably forever.
Yeah.
At this point, I would be amazed if they finish the season and or B, ever release what they have already filmed.
Well, they could kill him off and reinvigorate the series.
Well, the series ends in the British version with the character being assassinated. That was like the culmination. That's how it all happens. But so that's a spoiler alert for anybody who thought it was going to go any other way, because I don't think they could come up with a better ending for it than that.
Real quick.
See another. Yep.
Oh,
go ahead.
Let me. When the story's over, I have an aside.
Okay. Another accuser of Spacey has come forward. Filmmaker Tony Montana?
Really?
I really, is that his real name? Because I can't imagine how much that guy must have gotten kidded when he was younger for being Tony Montana.
Yeah.
Tony Montana, who says a drunken Spacey confronted him in 2003 at a trendy Los Angeles pub, groping his genitals and telling him, quote, "This designates ownership," unquote. Ugh.
That's
quote,
creepy as fuck.
Quote, "He grabbed my whole package. He grabbed me hard. No one had ever done that to me," Montana told USA Today, speaking from Seattle, where he is shooting a movie about a Hollywood director spinning out of control and forced to face his demons. Oh, isn't that ironic? Montana was surprised to see Spacey, whom he recognized but had never seen before, in the Coronet Pub, a hangout for some Hollywood types at the time. Montana said he had never heard any stories of Spacey taking such licenses. Quote, "His behavior didn't matter to me until he grabbed me because I'm straight," Montana said. Montana, then in his 30s, pushed his hand away, turning Spacey's thumb back in a martial arts move. Then Spacey, who he described as being falling down drunk, followed him to the bathroom and practically fell on him. "I pushed him back, backed him out of the bathroom, and told his friends, 'Time to take your boy home,'" Montana said. He never said anything publicly about his Spacey encounter, in part for an ironic reason. At the time, Montana was working on a documentary, 2003's Overnight. Oh, I love that movie. About filmmaker Troy Duffy, who'd been blacklisted by Harvey Weinstein and was afraid that if he spoke up about Spacey, the mogul might find out about the project and threaten his chances of getting it made or released. Wow. If you haven't seen the movie Overnight, it's kind of a behind the scenes of the maker of Boondock Saints and his quest to get that film made and all the shit behind the scenes that Troy Duffy basically slit his own throat in the process of doing that. And also shows some old school, like back when Harvey Weinstein was sort of at the peak of his power. That's interesting. So I guess I have seen one of Tony Montana's movies. I just didn't recognize the name other than the character. Anyway, that's basically the story.
Do you remember when Trump was elected? And even running.
It's a vague memory.
There were a lot of people who went to the Walk of Fame and like defaced his star. Have we seen any of that with these little rapey motherfuckers?
Well, I think doesn't Harvey Weinstein have a star?
I would imagine so at this point.
Let's see, Star Walk of Fame. Let's see. Oh yeah. Well, Hugh Hefner's Star Walk of Fame was vandalized. Hollywood star statements. I don't know if he had maybe he doesn't have a star on the Walk of Fame himself. He's been at a lot of things where they had stars. What about Kevin Spacey?
Kevin Spacey.
Okay, I'm not going to ask that. What has he been in? Like, that's not House of Cards.
Seven. American Beauty,
which was huge for him.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies, The Negotiator. Yeah,
Negotiator, K-Pax, 21.
Oh yeah, he was in 21.
Beyond the Sea, which was like his passion project for the whole.
Oh, he was in A Bug's Life.
And A Bug's Life. Yeah, he's been all over the place.
Who was he in A Bug's Life?
He was the rapey bug.
He was a bug.
Was he really the rapey bug?
Well, I don't. Was there a rapey bug in that movie?
I don't know. I don't really remember. You can't say things like that to me. I'll believe you.
Oh, and Usual Suspects. Of course, Usual Suspects.
Oh, yes, of course.
Verbal Kint. And Horrible Bosses, says Rotten Corpse. Yes, Kevin Spacey's been in a whole... he was the grasshopper in Bug's Life. He's been in a whole ton of movies. And really, I think American Beauty and Seven were the two movies that kind of put him on the map at the time.
Yeah.
But he'd been in lots of stuff prior to that. Let's see. And lastly, I have a Florida story.
Oh.
It's not a Florida man story. It's a Florida house story.
Whole fucking state.
Well, it's a Florida house story. TV producer sues Florida house over Chef Emerald's show.
Oh.
A television show hosted by celebrity chef Emerald Lagasse is at the center of a brewing court battle pitting the Florida house against the producer behind the cooking show. The Republican-controlled House wants years of records detailing how the show spent millions of dollars paid out by the state's tourism agency and how much was paid directly to Lagasse, however you say his name. Tallahassee television producer Pat Roberts and his company MAT Media sued the House on Friday, contending that the records sought by the House include trade secrets and confidential business information. Attorneys for Roberts are asking a judge to block a subpoena issued by the House for the records. Tim Jansen, one of the attorneys, blasted House Speaker Richard Cochran for the subpoena. Quote, "One politician in his drive for publicity, power, and higher office has trampled over the rights of private businesses and individuals that properly contracted services with a quasi-state agency," Jansen said. The show called... Sorry.
Quasi-state?
I don't know how you get... Is that like being a little pregnant?
It must be.
The show, called Emerald's Florida, aired on the Cooking Channel and featured the chef touring the state and visiting some of Florida's top restaurants. Visit Florida, the tourism association, paid at least $10 million over a 5-year period for the show. If the state pays you money and they want records of how it was spent, I think you might have a problem saying no.
Yeah, that's not quasi-government. That's government.
Yeah, that's the tourism agency. That's taxpayer money. So, yeah. Anyway, because I saw that, I was like, oh, a Florida story, and it's not a Florida man. Let's see. Is there any other news stuffs that I've left off or that you guys have heard about today? I know Monkey's been.
I haven't been near anything.
SD, do you know of anything extra going on?
No, I don't have anything. I've also been fairly busy today. I've been working on a lot of writing stuff.
Okay.
So,
well,
sorry. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to move on to the news.
No, that's
MSS
fine.
news. Okay. So everybody in chat, if you have news stories you'd like us to take a look at, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSSNews. Can't promise we'll get to them all, but we'll definitely take a look. Oh, and the first one's from Weebo.
Weebs.
Weebo has sent us a story. Well, Weebo, what have you sent us today? You've sent me to an ad. Can I get past the ad? I can get past the ad. Okay, no paywall. Moorhead's Concordia College takes down, quote, "It's okay to be white" posters.
Oh.
Posters that read, "It's okay to be white" have popped up in cities and schools across the country in recent days, including at Concordia College in Moorhead, Minnesota. A few of the posters were found on the private liberal arts campus Tuesday night and Wednesday. They have since been removed, but their brief appearance struck a chord with students who said the signs run counter to the school's values of inclusiveness and safety for all who work and study there. I'm going to read that poster again. "It's okay to be white."
It's not okay to say it's okay to be white.
Guess not. Quote, I was really shocked that someone had the guts to do this because we try to promote diversity so much, and seeing this is saying, quote, hey, we still have students who aren't fully invested in this diversity message.
No, what
this person could read between the lines of a cookbook.
Okay, even let's say you have some horrible, let's say Tara McCarthy herself put those up. Saying it's okay to be white doesn't say shit about fucking diversity.
Yeah. Nothing. And also, if you don't understand that you are being totally trolled here by 4chan, you're just not getting it. Because, back to the article, the signs apparently were tied to an online campaign on the message board 4chan. An image of the board, where most posts are anonymous, encouraged people to make signs and put them up on campuses on Halloween night. Quote, put on a silly costume for anonymity. Nobody will think twice because it's Halloween, one of the messages said. The next morning, the media goes completely berserk. Another media message said, and they were right. Concordia administration removed the signs because they did not follow the display policy for placing signage on the campus.
And that's fine. I have no problem with that. This shit about, well, you can't say it's okay to be white and we're diverse. Those two things don't go together.
Some have decried the posters as racist. Imagine that. And school president William Kraft said he wanted to invite the campus community to engage in a more open conversation on the topic at a forum that he was working to facilitate. On Wednesday, Kraft posted a longer statement on the school's Facebook page. Quote, there is and must be a place here for people of different ethnicities and skin colors, of different faith traditions or no faith traditions, of different nations, of different gender identities, of different political convictions, he wrote. In that sense, it is indeed okay to be white, and to be black, to be brown, to be Christian, to be Muslim, to be straight, to be gay, to be conservative, to be liberal, and so on. We are stronger for this diversity of identities. End of quote.
And if you stay with that, I'm with you, yeah, 100%.
I have no argument with any of what he just said. Let's see. Kraft also
they quoted first was a moron.
Yeah, that was a student or someone. Kraft also said posters with just 5 words also speak for what they don't say. The posters don't identify the author or group behind the message, thus not affording an opportunity for open discussion and debate. What's preventing you from having an open discussion and debate?
He doesn't know what 4chan is.
Quote, to be other than white is all too often to be subjected to discrimination, lack of opportunity, and even the threat and reality of violence, Kraft wrote. We must reject silences that demean and exclude, and we must engage open conversation about the experience of race on this campus and beyond. The experience of race.
Well, damn white people.
Okay. So there's that story. We went through the whole thing. Thank you, Circus Zero. Chatelet all from the Russian troll farm. Yes, Circus Zero sent an ad request earlier today, and I already have it written, so I will read that at YouTube time.
Sweet.
Moving on. What do we have next? Let's look for a funny story. I think something funny. Oh, thank you, Sanguine. So diversity by their own admission means it isn't okay to be white. That's the implication by the students, at least. What
the chancellor or whoever it was said was, I have no problem with it. What that student said is fucking retarded.
Yeah. A modern fantasy where magic is real but has been dampened by all the iron and steel in the modern world. Ooh. That's an interesting take. I kind of think of the White Wolf game Changeling when you bring that up. If anybody knows that game, because that's all about magical creatures and leprechauns and all that kind of stuff. All right, Sanguine, that is on the list for tomorrow. Thank you so much. Let's see. Looking for a funny story. Okay, this is weird. Okay, Pinkalo the driver, or Eric the driver, or just the driver, Alberta landlord struggling to evict man living rent-free on his driveway.
What? How do you live on someone's driveway?
A bizarre dispute between a landlord and an unwanted tenant has developed in Cardston, Alberta? Yeah, Cardston, Alberta. Robert Cox, Bob Cox, has been living in a makeshift shed on another man's driveway for the last month. Prior to that, he was renting the home on the same property with his common-law partner, who was paying the monthly rental bill. But when she moved out at the end of September, Cox refused to leave. Quote, I wasn't quite ready at the time at the beginning of the month, Cox said. I kind of stood my ground and protested quite a bit, and this is where we are today. Lease documents shown to Global News show that only Cox's girlfriend's name was on the lease. Cox isn't paying rent to live on the driveway, so landlord Ivan Nigirich thought it was a no-brainer to evict Cox. But instead, Nigirich learned that he was the one who couldn't be on the property. What? Quote, I can't go on my own property without a written letter stating that I have to give him 24 hours written permission or notice to go on his property.
Some weird squatter laws.
Yeah. Nagirich called Cardston RCMP twice to have his unwanted tenant removed from his driveway. Nagirich says he was the one asked to leave the property. According to police, that was about as much as they could do. Police told Global News officers won't get involved in the situation because it is a civil matter. Well, okay. Cox is claiming provincial squatters' rights, but those don't apply in this case since he hasn't been on the land for the minimum 10-year period. Quote, I think it's bizarre, Nagirich said. I think that the laws are in favor of the guys that are doing wrong.
Yep.
That is weird. That is an odd,
it
odd
happens
story.
a lot.
Yeah.
There are stories in the U.S. where people will move into an empty house and you can't get rid of them. It's illegal to just kick them out. That you have to give them a certain time frame, and yeah.
Huh.
So
All right.
if you guys want to live somewhere rent free, just find a house that's not being used, move your shit in.
All right, this one.
Make sure it applies in your state.
Yeah, that too. This one comes from Pissed Off Shih Tzu. Disney bans LA Times reporters from advanced screenings after critical article. Okay. The Walt Disney Company is leaving Los Angeles Times reporters outside the velvet rope for its upcoming movies, barring the paper's employees from advanced screenings in retaliation for a pair of stories detailing the company's business ties with the city of Anaheim, the home of Disneyland. The paper published a note Friday explaining that there was not a review of Disney's latest film, the Marvel superhero movie Thor Ragnarok, in Friday's print edition because critic Justin Chang was not permitted to see the film in advance. What was the article about that was...
What one were they critical of?
Yeah, that's what I'm... okay. Quote, the annual holiday movie sneaks section published by the Los Angeles Times typically includes features on movies from all major studios reflecting the diversity of films Hollywood offers during the holidays, one of the busiest box office periods of the year, the paper wrote. This year, Walt Disney Company Studios declined to offer the Times advanced screenings, citing what it called unfair coverage of its business ties with Anaheim. The Times will continue to review and cover... So and they have a link to the story about that, and I'll get to that very briefly.
So it wasn't even about a movie; it was about the business side.
Yeah,
I wasn't paying attention. I apologize.
That's okay. The article is called "Is Disney Paying Its Share in Anaheim?" Let's see. Trying to see.
Question.
A few hours after the gates swing open at Disneyland and Disney California Adventure, the cars are still pouring into the massive 10,241 space parking garage. They zoom into the 6-story concrete structure, carloads of costumed kids, foreign tourists, and graying baby boomers sporting Mickey Mouse ears, Frozen dresses, and Star Wars backpacks. The cash pours in, and even if the parking garage fills just half its spaces, it would still generate more than $35 million in annual revenue and easily hundreds of millions of dollars over the life of the structure. That money all goes to Walt Disney Company, the city of Anaheim, Walt Disney Company, period. The city of Anaheim, which owns the garage and spent $108.2 million to build it, charges the company just $1 a year for the lease.
Okay, I'm kind of with the newspaper on this one.
More than 20 years after Anaheim agreed to pay for the parking facility as part of Disneyland's resort expansion, it has become a symbol of the city's complicated and increasingly tense relationship with its biggest and most powerful corporate citizen. Anyway, this article goes on for a long time. It's a big, long article. I'll put a link into the chat for those of you who are interested.
So basically, Disney has a sweetheart deal on the parking garage.
Yeah, because of the amount of tourism money and jobs and everything else they generate, they have leverage over the city that the city's probably too pussied out to try to retaliate against.
This is something I don't know, and I don't know if anybody in the chat would. The revenue generated from that, is it taxable? Because that would make a difference. I mean, if they're only charging $1 a year rent, but they're able to tax that, what was it, 100? How much was it? Disney gets?
Well, it said for the parking garage alone, it said it was $35 million a year.
Yeah, so if there's tax paid on that, I mean, the city's still making a bit.
I don't know.
Yeah, that like I said, I don't know. That's why I was wondering if.
Well, is it state tax or is it city tax?
Well, there can be both.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So the story seems to paint a very lopsided picture of the money coming in, but who knows? Anyway, that's interesting. So a couple people have sent us this. So thank you, Fernanda, and thank you, Jack Cochran. I'll read this one here. Addled in the saddle. Woman charged with DUI on horseback.
What? That's not driving.
And can you imagine where this comes from, this story?
BuzzFeed?
Florida.
Oh, Florida. Okay.
A 53-year-old woman riding a horse down a busy Florida highway has been arrested and charged with driving drunk. Polk County Sheriff's officials said in a news release that someone called 911 about a woman who appeared confused and possibly in danger. When deputies arrived, they found Donna Byrne riding her horse in the road. Officers did a sobriety test and said she gave breath samples that registered blood alcohol level of 0.161.
Damn, bitch was drunk.
Twice Florida's legal limit of 0.08. Byrne is charged with DUI and animal neglect for endangering and failing to provide proper protection for the horse. Let's see. Deputies took the horse to the Polk County Sheriff's Animal Control Livestock Facility. She was booked into the Polk County Jail. There you
go. That's not driving, though.
Well, it's a vehicle, I guess. Operating a vehicle? I don't know. Does a horse count as a vehicle in Florida? Apparently it does, I guess.
I don't think it should.
Oh, okay. Well, Jack Cochran sent us a story that I've got to save for deep topic time if we can't come up with something else. Put that one aside. Oh, yeah, and I'll do this as the last one for the day. I heard about this on Twitter earlier today, and I made a joke about it, but this is a funny new thing. Why the alt-right now loves Papa John's.
Oh, God.
Have you heard this? No.
No.
Okay. Now, I don't know much of the details behind this, so before I read the article, I'm going to say I bet this is some kind of trolling by 4chan or some such. But let's see what happens. White supremacists are talking about making it their official pizza.
Of course.
Papa John's founder and CEO John Schnatter. I don't know how to say that. And this is Huffington Post, by the way, writing this, got cheesed off about the NFL kneeling controversy on a conference call with investors on Wednesday. And by Thursday, his product was being held up by the world's most influential neo-Nazi site. I want to read that again. The world's most influential neo-Nazi site as the potential pizza of choice for the alt-right. Most influential.
What's the least influential?
Yeah, I really love to know what the least influential one is. Oh, it's probably the Papa John's website.
Yeah, probably.
Once the Daily Stormer decides to embrace a brand, the entire white supremacist community tends to jump in. Yeah, so all 5,000 of them.
The white.
I mean,
the entire community.
They did
Just a couple.
I forget whose numbers it was. I think it was the Southern Poverty Law Center's numbers that the actual like roster for the KKK or white nationalist groups, if you put them all together, if you got them all of the ones that officially have declared themselves, etc., they wouldn't fill a quarter of any football stadium you can imagine. It just there's like maybe 10 to 15,000 total, and that's being generous.
Yeah.
That's not to say there are only 10 to 15,000 racists out there, but people that actually identify as white nationalists or neo-Nazis. Yeah, it's nothing.
That's why I said the alt-right doesn't matter.
Right, it doesn't matter. Let's see. Sorry, once the Daily Stormer decides to embrace a brand, the entire white supremacist community tends to jump in. It has happened before with New Balance and with Wendy's. Did it? I must have missed the shoes and the hamburgers. Now it might happen to Papa John's after Schnatter decided on Wednesday to publicly reevaluate his company's relationship with the NFL, whose ratings are down this year. In particular, Schnatter said he had enough of the league allowing its players to kneel during the national anthem. Blah, 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 blah. And Papa John's is also pulling some ads from NFL games this year.
That's not surprising.
Oh, here we go. This is great, wrote columnist Adrian Soule at the Daily Stormer, which has served as a platform for racists to gripe about the NFL's racial makeup and their distaste for what the website has called the Negro Felon League.
Nice.
Jesus Christ. As a rule, the alt-right white supremacist movement tends to disdain professional sports, mainly because the big leagues are filled with people of color and are closer to a meritocracy of talent than almost anything else in society. I don't know the NFL that well. I don't know if that's an accurate statement or not. Because I see. Needed. Yeah, I've heard about. I mean, the sports players in general, regardless of what they look like, I think tend to be overpaid for their actual value. But maybe that's just me.
I don't understand the line because they tend to be a meritocracy. Why wouldn't that be something that these crazy fuckers would like?
Yeah, that's a plus, right? 'Cause I don't know. Anyway, well, meritocracy so long as you're white, maybe.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
Let's see. Okay, that's basically the story. So look out, everybody. If you have a Papa John's pizza box in your hands, you might be mistaken for a white supremacist neo-Nazi.
Well, it's because you are.
Thank you, Cryptic. Pet Cemetery remake, Kevin Spacey as the son and Amy Schumer as the mom. Okay, well, it's funny you say that because they are planning to remake Pet Cemetery. And I'm not even kidding. If that was part of the joke you're making, then you're right on point. But Pet Cemetery, Kevin Spacey as the son? Okay. See, I imagine like taking a little kid and then like digitally putting Kevin Spacey's head on the kid and having him run around and everything. And thank you, Snubbirth. I love Papa John's because Hut and Domino's got a weak delivery game. Was that a football joke?
I don't know. Could be.
Is delivery game like a football slang? Maybe? I don't know. Thank you, Snubbert. Well, okay, that's enough MSS news. Let's go on to YouTube time. So, Monkey, I know that you haven't... Oh, sorry.
Let me give my standard. I'm not doing anything this week, guys. Family in town and, of course, toilet problems.
Yeah.
But I will be back at it. Hopefully, I'll have a video out Monday.
Yay!
I know that I'm short of inscribed, but I should have a video out tomorrow because I actually have some time. And then I will hopefully be streaming with Satsu tomorrow.
Okay.
I will be streaming with Satsu tomorrow. I'm sorry, Satsu's going to kill me for saying it like that. I'll stream with you tomorrow, Satsu. We'll go beat up some people.
Let's see, before I start, Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, hit that like button if you would, please. And if you like our stuff, please share it. Share it like you would share a cookie in kindergarten.
Share it like AIDS in California.
Well, there goes my monetization. Thanks a lot, Monkey.
Too far.
Let's see. As far as me, I haven't done anything today per se. It was a very, 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 very busy day at work. Amazingly enough, didn't think it would be. So I didn't have a lot of free time to run around. But I did, however, write an ad that was requested by Circus Zero earlier today. And Circus Zero requested a troll farm ad in the style of a 1980s, 1990s crazy discount store.
Oh, cool.
Now, I'm going to attempt to do this, and it's going to be bad, but I'm going to try my best. Hello, capitalist pigs and piglets. Are you needing the dankest of memes in order to meddle in election or make Cartoon Frog into supervillain? Then you are needing to come down to Crazy Ivan's Troll Farm Collective. Only the greatest shitposters in all of Mother Russia work at Crazy Ivan's. We have Facebook pages, ads for Democrats, ads for Republicans, ads for activist groups, ads for spatulas, and a vast selection of only the rarest of Pepes. So don't come down don't look for trolls under a bridge. Come down to Crazy Ivan's. We will not be undersold.
I actually think you did that very well.
That was my best attempt at a Eastern European accent.
No, that wasn't bad.
I fumbled at the end there because I was like, oh, whatever. Anyway, there you go, Circus Zero. I hope you appreciate that. Jack Cochran, another of his laundry videos got demonetized. That is a crime against humanity.
Fuck, are laundry videos getting demonetized?
Yeah, I mean,
what
as
are
far
you
as
putting in your tags, dude?
Ooh, maybe there's something in the laundry that's inappropriate, like a bra or something.
Oh, that could be.
I mean, do you have something that's like non-monetizable appearing in your laundry machine, Jack? I want to check that just to make sure.
Keep your dirty drawers to yourself.
Let's see. Yeah, so again, might do a Stranger Things stream on Sunday. We'll see. Other than that, I got a couple of videos that I'm looking at to maybe do some work on, but it's been kind of dry the last couple of days. Like, usually I look up like diversity because, God, there's all these corporate diversity videos out there, right? Unfortunately, the word diversity is in the diversity visa program, which is what brought in the New York truck driver. So there's tons and tons of videos about the diversity visa program that I have to filter through. So that kind of threw that off. And I keep finding like these really semi-interesting lectures on social justice and such from like professors and professionals and things, but they go on for like an hour and a half. And my brain starts to melt out after about 15, 20 minutes trying to piece out what they're saying. And I just imagine like sitting down with this hour and a half long video trying to select specific portions in this morass to make a video out of. And it just seems daunting. I kind of go, maybe if I've had more free time. But anyway, so that's what I'm working on right now. I'm looking at a couple of things. I hopefully have a video out by the end of the weekend, I'm hoping. Otherwise, we're at about the top of the hour. Do we have any deep topics?
The only thing deep I can talk about is toilets today, because Jesus fucking Christ. I'm thinking. Oh, I did have a deep topic. I'm actually going to do a video on it.
Okay.
This one's deep, though.
Uh-oh.
Like, seriously deep.
Okay.
And I'm not being facetious here.
Okay.
Male suicide stats. I've been asked a couple of times to participate in, things to bring awareness to that, and I have a problem with the way it's being used. And the problem is not the people who are trying to do a good thing here. I know like the MRAs are trying to bring attention to this kind of stuff. Here's the problem. The suicide attempt rate for men and women is not that different. Men succeed more, which is why they have such a staggering rate. Now, I want you to think about this in the terms of a feminist. The whole reason that we're told that this happens is because men don't go to, you know, they don't have resources to go look at these things, right? But in the mind of a feminist, when you look at these and you say, oh, men are doing this more, doesn't it become the toxic masculinity? It's one of the things that's bad about us, that we don't talk about our emotions. So I understand what's trying to be done there, but this thought hit me today that it's being used as, I mean, it's the thing that's pointed to by feminists as toxic masculinity, because we can't express ourselves enough. And is it that men can't express themselves enough, or is it just that men do it in more effective ways? And I'm sorry, I know this is a horrible topic to bring up, but isn't it a society-wide problem if the attempt rates are the same and not just something wrong with men?
Well, there is truth. Not so. Just for the sake of full disclosure, I have in my past been suicidal, and in oh, sorry, hold on a second. Thank you, Sweeper Steven. Just to have to show some love, an ad is a movie about killer turkeys on Thanksgiving. Oh boy, I'm gonna have fun coming up with a title for that one. Thank you, Sweeper.
Sorry, had to run to the bathroom.
So, for me personally, talking about it wasn't something I wanted to do because I didn't want to make it somebody else's problem, first and foremost. That was just sort of, I mean, I do that about a lot of things. You know, I try to, you know, if something's just affecting me or it's my own internal problem, I try to keep it to myself, not bother anybody about it. There's also obviously the fear of, and I don't think this is exclusively to men, but I won't deny that there is a general sort of, you know, masculine reflex to not show your weakness. And so not talking about the things that are troubling you to others is something that, you know, I practice as a matter of course. Now, I don't think it's healthy. You know, on reflection, I'm looking back at this from like 10 years on, from when the last time I had that kind of situation. So there is some. This is the problem with like feminist theory and everything else. You can use the seed of truth to grow a plant of lies. And the seed of truth is that yes, men don't express their emotions in the same way as women, and in fact, we are. I think, naturally inclined to show outward strength by keeping the bad stuff in and dealing with it privately. I don't think that that is an incorrect description of how a lot of men work. The problem is that more and more, if we express how we feel, even if we are trying to be honest with people, the information we're getting back from modern feminism and the schools and everything else is that we're doing it wrong, you know? And so why even risk getting into trouble by trying to express your emotions, feelings, or something else if it's just going to get negative feedback for having done so, you know?
And I get that, I do. But if women and men are attempting at the same rate, isn't that a society-wide problem and not just a man problem? And again, the reason that this bothers me is because feminists do look at this shit, and anytime you hear them talking about toxic masculinity, this is one of the things they bring up, is how we don't express ourselves. But and one of the things they'll point to is the suicide statistic, because men have a much higher but if they're
but they attempt
at
at the same rate.
Exactly. So isn't it?
And we have similar rates of depression. So I mean, Yeah, men don't go about it the same way, but not, and obviously that oscillates for different people because everybody's different.
Sure. In general.
Men just tend to prefer blowing their brains out. Women like to be nice and peaceful in death. So not we, but women tend to pick methods that aren't as destructive and have a much lower success rate. So, I don't know, I guess encourage men to be more vain so that at least when they attempt it, they don't dead.
Well,
yeah.
Again, my issue is that if women are still attempting it and they are so emotional and they're so open to talking and if they're attempting at the same rate as men, why are they still, if they're so expressive and they're so emotive, why are they just as bad?
Well, it's the framing of it. It's like with anything else. So you take something, it's the God of the gaps theory. Okay, men commit suicide. Obviously, it's because men are toxically masculine, don't talk about their feelings, thus internalize them, thus kill themselves. Women commit suicide. Obviously, it's because they're a victim of male oppression. It's just framing the facts. Now,
so can I?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can I tell you guys kind of like a funny story? Because we sort of started talking about a little bit of this in my global issues class, and we were talking about like global happiness levels. And apparently, the happiest state in the U.S. is Utah, but it's also the state with the highest rate of suicide. And one of the guys in my class was like, "Oh yeah, well that's just because all the sad people are killing themselves. So you just have all the happy ones left." And it was super funny. I thought that was funny. Anyway.
Is that true? Malevolent Devil?
What?
Malevolent Devil says you can't
get you demonetized.
Oh yeah, so nothing that I put up here anymore is monetized anyway, so I don't really care.
I know Mr. Repsion still has a ton of his videos up. They just got demonetized.
Yeah, I am not concerned about this video not being ad friendly. I haven't been concerned about that since the beginning of the channel. So,
and in all sincerity, and this might be kind of funny, I thought of this while working on that damn toilet because jokingly I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kill myself, and that's where my brain went. Backscan just said something in the chat that is actually kind of interesting. If women have all this support and men don't, but the attempt rates are the same, doesn't that mean that women have an even bigger problem? Because women have all this support that's supposed to be helping them, not be toxically masculine.
Well, so the attempt rate versus, so we're talking about two different things here. Are we talking about the attempt rate versus the actual suicide rate?
No, because the attempt rate is what's important, because as
I
Dave
agree with that, Monkey.
Men and women try in different ways. Women are more likely to try to poison themselves,
yes,
slit their wrist. Men do things like hang themselves or shoot their brains out.
Right.
And those two things. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you bring up a really good point with that, where you say, well, if women are the ones with all the support and they're still attempting at the same rate as men, what the fuck's going on with the women? And sorry, it just is on my mind because we've been doing lectures about women like globally, and we've been talking about female rates of happiness and stuff like that. And something that's very unique to the West is that we sort of have this anti-child culture type thing. So when women actually have kids, they're expected to go back to work. And whether it's because they're expected to or because they literally have to eat, whatever the case may be. And usually they don't have extended family members to kind of help even out the burden of those first couple of months to a year of having a child, or even just beyond that. So women don't really have these support networks that they would have in other countries. And we think that might be something that contributes especially to rates of depression in mothers specifically.
I've got a theory on the method thing.
Okay.
Men are too proud to ask for help. Women want the help to come to them. So men pick an efficient method and women pick a method that gives them an out.
That could be. So would that mean they're not actually trying, or that they're hoping somebody?
Well, I mean, if you're intent on killing yourself, and I'm going to be morbid here for a second, there are some pretty surefire ways, no pun intended, to complete that task. If you pick a method that has a fuse on it, let's say there's a delay. The old adage goes that is a cry for help. If you're, I'm getting into some sort of like very cliched language here, but I think that people, and I'm not just talking about women necessarily, but people who don't select a way of ending their life in anything other than a efficient manner are damseling themselves. They want to be saved. They want someone to externally express their care for them that they don't have to solicit directly. And again, I'm not talking about just women. I'm talking about people in general. If I try to commit suicide through taking a bunch of Tylenol or something, I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm trying to make it painless. But, if I get saved and someone pumps my stomach and then I get, 3 weeks of tender loving care as people like, fawn over me. Again, this is making me sound like I'm being a jerk to anybody who's committing suicide, doesn't have actual mental problems or anything else.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Because, I've either directly or indirectly experienced suicide in several different ways. Both myself, I've had people I've known who've committed suicide. I've had people I've known who've attempted suicide. And everybody's different for their motivations in a way. I knew someone who committed suicide as effectively an act of revenge on someone else, to make someone else's life terrible. They did it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Which is probably the most one. I mean, there are low things you can do in your life. That is one of the lowest.
That's why I hate 13 Reasons Why so much, because that's pretty much the whole thing. Like, the whole entire show is this girl killed herself, and now she's like, now you all have to deal with the consequences that my dumbass is dead. And I'm like, you're an ass. But, I think it depends on the person, and I don't know that we can really say, because on the one hand, maybe a drug overdose is a good way to give you an out. It can also be incredibly effective if you know what to mix with what.
Yes, that's true too.
So,
somebody go ahead. I'll wait.
So I don't, I don't know. But I think we should treat every suicide attempt like it's absolutely sincere.
Sure.
Unless there's like some clear, some clear indication otherwise. But like Monkey, I think what Monkey pointed out is something that's kind of like burrowed its way into my brain now. It is really interesting that women have all the support, and yet the attempt rates are so similar.
Yeah, for the record, that was backscan. I was just repeating what he said, because I hadn't thought about that. It's really interesting.
Yeah,
it
that
only
is a very interesting perspective on it.
It furthers my interest in this, because my interest in this isn't the suicide part. That's I prefer not to talk about it. But when you look at what MRAs are bringing up and what feminists bring up about toxic masculinity, it doesn't really jive with what we're seeing. The two don't go together. Yes, I think men need to get more help. I think if we can find ways to get that rate down, that's excellent. Absolutely, we should be trying that. But it gets pointed out is that this is a man problem, and it just doesn't seem to be to me.
Yeah, well,
it seems
this is
to be
something.
A person problem.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just saying that it seems to go with both sexes.
Yeah, this is something that I've said in regards to some other topics that we've discussed on the stream before too. I think it was like child custody and stuff like that. I don't necessarily think that it's helpful to tackle these based on gender, because it's so different for every individual person that breaking it down by gender is almost asinine. Even like with child custody cases, because now, and alimony and stuff like that, because now that women are earning just as much as their male counterparts, and then in the millennial generation, they're earning more, you're starting to see child custody battles and alimony settlements and all that kind of stuff go. It's not, obviously it's not evenly split, but you're seeing it start to even out. So I think that we should tackle these issues just as an issue rather than breaking it down by gender, because if you break it down by gender, you start to lose all that nuance because then you have to generalize.
Well, there's a great moment in the movie Red Pill. There's a guy, I forget his name, but he brings up that very point. He's like, look, we shouldn't be talking about this as men or women, because what's going to happen, no matter which way you go, you're going to end up with an imbalance. If you're pushing men's rights, eventually men are going to get to the point where they have more rights than women, or at least like in the family court, it might not actually be legal rights, but written into the law, but it's how it's dealt out. He said that very thing. We need to do this as a human issue, not addressing it as men versus women.
Yeah, because I think
I would
then
agree
you can
with
also, yeah, because I think then you can also account for all of the nuance, because what if it is a woman who wants to blow her brains out violently? Then that doesn't fit into this paradigm that you've made of like men want to do it violently and women are only doing it with drugs and I'm completely generalizing, not referring to Scribe, by the way. It's just a generalization. Women are doing it with drugs because they don't actually want to self-dead. They just want to look pretty and be helpless, right? So when you make those generalizations and you split it up by men and women, you lose so much nuance. Whereas if you just tackle it as an issue and you focus on the human rights side of things and stop breaking people down by things they can't control, like their gender or their race, then I think you can really start to tackle the issue, because you also lose the internal argument of, well, women have it worse, or, well, men have it worse. It's like, how about we just try to stop people from killing themselves in the first place?
Yeah.
Worrying about their genitals.
That would be my point here exactly, is that it shouldn't be a men or women's issue. It doesn't seem to be smart to do it that way.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of issues shouldn't be gendered. I mean, even rape and sexual assault and domestic violence and things like that, we like to gender all of it, but I think we could get a lot further if we stopped, one, because like I said, you get to keep all the nuance because you're not having to generalize by sex. But the other thing is that you get to stop the argument of whether or not men have it worse when it comes to domestic violence, right? Because we can just say, well, let's just try to solve domestic violence in general instead of worrying about what every specific victim might look like.
Yeah.
Because then you just don't leave anybody out.
I didn't mean to go so deep. It's just the only thing that's been in my head, so I apologize.
You don't have to apologize.
Well, sometimes I have, ridiculous deep topics, and then sometimes I have, Monkey, why are you talking about this?
No, you want a ridiculous deep topic? How about being a chef made me forget I have a micro penis?
What?
This is the article Jack Cochran sent us.
All right, so talking about suicide is definitely preferable to that. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not really kidding, but go ahead.
Yeah, somebody wrote an article about having their own micro penis.
Well, this is by Anonymous, so
okay.
I'm holding out that this might be a troll.
It's Emerald.
Yeah, it's the state of Florida. Okay, here we go. When I entered puberty, I realized I was very different from the other boys. I shut myself off, worrying all the time that I'd get found out, and wound up feeling completely devoid of masculinity. That changed when I became a chef. So this is a male chef, 25 in the UK. That's as much as they will tell us about this person. My penis is 3 inches long when erect and barely an inch when flaccid. Damn it. I have a micro penis. I was born this way. When I was born, my dick looked like any other baby boy's, tiny and pink, bobbing around on top of a set of balls like an elf hat.
Okay, you know what? The worst part of this is describing a baby dick. I don't ever want to hear a description of a baby dick.
I'll skip past that. It wasn't until I saw other boys that I thought, mine is really small. It wasn't like non-existent, just really, really small. This awareness grew when I entered puberty, when I was about 12, and a shadowy slug of peach fuzz had appeared on my top lip. I asked my dad to have a look. What, have a look at your willy? He said. Please, Dad, I don't think it's normal. All right, son, let's have a look. Oh, yeah, let's get an appointment with the GP. So off we went, me with my normal-sized balls, dropping voice, whiskey top lip, and very, very small penis. The doctor had a look and said, we'll do some tests, and something like, it should be growing. I sort of went blank, and my ears felt like they were full of carpet. It was... Anyway, I had loads of tests, and the doctors concluded that I was, in fact, abnormal. I've always been a bit overweight, which doesn't help. But one is considered to have a micropenis when your dick is at least 2.5 standard deviations smaller than the mean penis size. Okay, anyway, well, let's get to the part where you get some, like, cooking or something. I had to find a vocation to take my mind off the obsession. I was always good at sports, but now as a pubescent teenager was scared of the changing room. I avoided anything outside of PE lessons. I don't even know if this is interesting at certain points. Like, I became a cook. I'm like, great.
Well, yeah, if you have, let's call it a deficiency like that, yeah, finding something that keeps you
But I don't get
interested.
how being in the kitchen like a woman helps with emasculating yourself.
Well,
in fairness, most chefs tend to be men.
But I was just making a women in the kitchen.
I know you were.
Let's see. Cryptic, thank you so
You
much.
just had to fucking ruin it. Fuck you, monkey. Fuck you.
Cryptic, thank you. He can't make fun of Asians, at least.
Yeah, no. I was just sticking up for the guy with the tiny dick. That's all.
Baby dick.
I feel bad for him because I can't imagine what that's like. I mean,
neither can I.
For a lot of guys, I mean, the changing room isn't fun anyway. But to have a God, poor bastard. I don't know what the equivalent of that would be for women. I mean, because I don't even think small boobs is
I
the
guess
same.
having like ridiculously disgusting like labia, maybe.
Maybe. Well, see, even in the changing room, that wouldn't. I mean, unless they're like drooping to your knees, nobody's going to see that.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I don't think we really deal with it.
And masculinity is tied into our penises, whether anybody wants to admit it or
Yeah.
not. That poor guy. I want to just give him a hug.
Oh.
I don't think that'll help with the masculine problem either.
It wouldn't, but be like, you poor bastard.
Boy, I really hope Splinter makes a video out of this article. In the absence of any more deep topics. Good God. The misunderstood beauty of Allahu Akbar.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Nope, this is from Splinter, our friends at Splinter, written by Sarah A. Harvard under the heading God is Greater. When I was growing up in the Chicagoland area, my father would tell me stories when we went shopping, scanning the produce aisle for the perfect bag of green grapes. On one of these trips, he told me that Neil Armstrong was a Muslim. Is he? Was he?
Okay, so your dad's a liar.
Okay, according to my father, the American astronaut converted to Islam after hearing Allahu Akbar, or God is Greater, and the Islamic call to prayer when he took his first steps on the moon. What? Oh, it turns out my father, like many Muslims around the world, fell for an urban legend. yeah, it's called the Quran. Despite the repetition of a widely circulated myth, I have grown to appreciate my father's effort to instill a sense of pride in us and to normalize our Muslim identity. It was his personal struggle, or jihad, to raise his two daughters with a solid understanding of our Islamic history as our family lived in a country suspicious of us. My parents were hyper aware of how much Muslims were feared unnecessarily in America. The town where our family's business had once been was under one of the biggest counterterrorism surveillance programs in the United States, Operation Vulgar Betrayal. Is that really the name of an operation?
I don't know.
That they had a link to it. Operation Vulgar Betrayal, 1998. Anyway, I'm not going to skip that for now. So while Armstrong was not a Muslim, the moral of my father's story was simple. Allahu Akbar isn't something we should be afraid of saying, because after all, God is greater than anyone and all of us. And yet conservatives and anti-Muslim polemicists insist on characterizing Allahu Akbar as an Islamic battle cry. Well, given the footage we see all the time from Iraq and Afghanistan,
In America,
and America, and any place where somebody, any place anybody opens up fire with a machine gun or blows themselves up or runs people over with a truck, it's hard not to separate the two, or hard to separate the two. The battle in the immediate aftermath of Tuesday's Manhattan attack, self-proclaimed Christian and right-wing commentators unleashed a by now routine assault on God. Really?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, it was an assault on God. Michelle Malkin lamented the expression, referring it to Allahu Akbaritis. On Wednesday, Sean Hannity and Sean Gorka went after CNN's Jake Tapper for saying the Arabic expression is beautiful. Tapper said that Allahu Akbar is, quote, used under the most beautiful circumstances. That's the quote, and then the author follows up with which is an indisputable fact. It's used under the most beautiful circumstances. So running people over with a truck, blowing yourself up, using machine guns, setting off suicide bombs in Iraq, Afghanistan, so on.
Beautiful, man.
That's beautiful. Oh, that's beautiful. Tapper later backtracked on the statement. He accused Fox News of lying and tweeted that he, in fact, had never said Allahu Akbar is a beautiful phrase, as if it is wrong to think so. Well, it's not wrong to think so, but there's plenty of evidence to the contrary. Let's put it that way. While Tapper might be well-intentioned with his tweet, he inadvertently perpetuates this Islamophobic notion that the Arabic expression is something worthy of suspicion. Well, I'll tell you, if someone runs into a mall and screams Allahu Akbar, I'm going to be a little bit more than just suspicious. I don't know what to tell you. That's just the world we live in right now.
I'm ducking for cover.
Yeah. Let's see. Allahu Akbar unites over 1.6 billion Muslims around the world who all speak different dialects and languages, as well as Arab, Greek, Orthodox, and Christians who use the expression. It's a versatile, humble phrase. Yeah, humble. God is greater than everything else. That's humble. It's whispered into a newborn's ear. It's muttered as the last words before one's death. Yeah, it is, before they pull the cord.
I feel like you didn't think that one through.
Oh, my God.
This is what we say before people die. Yep, it is.
All right. I don't want to read any more of that. I don't care. I don't.
Good Lord.
It's a phrase of beauty.
It's very beautiful.
Thank you, Cryptic. If I hear that shit from an Arab or an African, my ass is running for the hills. There's a good reason it always comes before death. Well, again, as always, hashtag not all. But honestly, if I'm just out and about and I'm not at a mosque or at some kind of event where that prayer is taking place or something, and someone just yells out, Allahu Akbar, that is a danger. That is a red flag. That is not, that is not automatically understood as an exclamation of joy or peace or beauty or anything else. Thank you, Snubberth. I can't remember the show, but it was pre-September 11th as a religious praise to God. So I assume its original meaning, like ISIS, has become distorted by the current trends. Give my ad to someone else.
Well, she's not wrong, or he, whoever wrote that, in the fact that it's said before death, and these people are expecting to die when they pull that cord and say it. They're just taking you with them.
Let's see. Tell you what, chat. I'm going to do a reverse here. Give me the name of a product without context, and it can be random words or something, and I will make up an ad around that. You can't tell me what the ad has to be about. Just give me the name of the product. And make it as
product, not movie.
Yeah, product, not movie. Not movie. I don't want a movie description. Just give me the name of the product. It can be as goofy or as serious as you'd like, but I get to make up the ad around it. I'll pick one out of the chat as I watch, and it'll just be whatever I decide in the next few minutes. Thank you, Sanguine. I am sure they wouldn't have a problem if Gott mit uns or Deus Volt got really popular, especially among Christians killing Muslims. I'm sure they would no problem with that at all. Billy Cream, says Jack Gunsky. Nano Slim. Nano Slim. That's an interesting one.
Billy Beer.
Billy Beer.
That's I got to put that in the chat. Let me do that.
Yeah, Wind. Well, there was Billy Beer. That was Jimmy Carter's brother had Billy Beer.
Yeah.
Undercity, Potato Gun, Hanging Rope, Super Weaving Weaving Loom, Rim Runner. Oh God, Rim Runner.
Mexican black tar heroin.
Yeah, that's the name of a product. All right. Micro Dick, Cocaine Cola, Soylent Green, Poo Pourri. Oh, Cryptic. Oh my God. Turtle Cave Cream, Interdimensional Matter Transporter, Rubber Baby Buggy Bumpers. Yeah. Oh God. Chicken Choker, Hot Cream, Toasted Vaginal Bread, Anal Ease. Oh God, guys. An El Chapo special. Shia LaBeouf. Oh man. Okay,
you guys got some good ones here.
Yeah, I'll have to look through these. Keep dropping them in there. Put my name in, or my tag in front of it so I can see it better. Goofy Goobers, Wonder Boner, Pedo Dildo. Oh God! All right, so I will pick one of these randomly as I see it. I won't tell you which one it'll be, but I'll give credit by the time I make the ad tomorrow. Brian Powell says, "Scribe, do an ad for landmines disguised as prayer mats." Oh, geez. Well, anyway, it's about the bottom of the hour, guys, so we got a half an hour left. It is your time. If you have questions, comments, answers, complaints, deep thoughts, etc., please post them here.
Now's the time to ask.
Papa John's Clan special. Oh, Lord. Okay.
It's a 14-slice pizza.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? Let's see. So tomorrow night we're on Monkey's channel.
Yes.
Okay.
There will not be a movie stream this week because of the reasons I'm not doing anything else.
Yeah.
Sylvanas wants to know if I heard what came out of BlizzCon for World of Warcraft. Are you talking about the vanilla servers? Because if so, those are a bad fucking idea.
What's that all about?
Sorry, just took my medicine. 1 second.
The suspense is killing me.
Players have been asking for years for the original server to play the original game again.
Okay.
And Blizzard has always said they wouldn't do it because from what they've been able to, one, they don't have the original code anymore. When they've updated,
mm-hmm.
Which always seemed fishy to me. But they've also said that they just didn't think the interest would be there long term. And as somebody who goes back and plays older games now and then, I have to agree with them. There are games that I spent months playing that I'll go back and I'll play for maybe a week.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen if this is what she's talking about? And I know they did announce those, but what's going to happen is people are going to go back and they're going to realize just how shitty that game was.
Right.
Because the original World of Warcraft, while it was, and the new X pack, we may be losing Undercity. No, not, that was my favorite place. That's fucked up. But, and sorry. The original game was much easier than EverQuest, which was the big one at the time, at least here in the States. I forget the Korean one that was bigger. Lineage was bigger than EverQuest ever was. But EverQuest was the one that every hardcore gamer played. Mm-hmm. And it was a fucking beast of a game. It was monstrous to play. It just sucked, and you had to really, really love it to play it. And I believe at its height, it got about 500,000 players.
Yeah.
And then World of Warcraft came on the scene, and it was much easier. It was much easier. And it grew to like 5 million players. And if you go back and look at what it really was, though, compared to the height of Warcraft, which was the end of Wrath of the Lich King going into Cataclysm,
mm-hmm.
It was just such a much harder game. One, you didn't have the ability to fly in the old lands. And Blizzard has always said they are not going to, if they ever did it, they wouldn't change anything. They would just release them how they were at the end of the original thing. So there's going to be players who are going to be requesting things for this, and Blizzard's going to have to tell them no, because they're going to keep working on the game where it's at nowadays, rather than going back and trying to change things they've already fucking changed.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, SDA, she told us she'd be back in a few. I'm not sure what she's doing.
No, I'm here.
I didn't. You never said you came back.
I went to the bathroom. I'm here.
Scott says, "Hey,
she's just being quiet.
Will you have Tara Babcock on as a guest on your live stream someday? Someday? I don't know. She's like super hot model person. I've never, aside from seeing pictures of her, can't say that I've paid attention to her. So I would be surprised if I ever did. Let me put it that way. Let's see. Questions, guys. Questions. You were so good last night with all the interesting things to say.
What kind of questions do you have for us?
Yes, there's got to be something you can pick apart our minds about, because we're so brilliant.
I'll tell you what, I do it anyway, but this is technically an AMA for me. Anything you want to know, ask now.
Oh, uh-oh. Careful.
Anything that won't dox me. Let me put it that way.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm looking at Tara Babcock pictures now. I'm like, she likes to show off her butt, which I'm all for.
Let's see. Since micropenis is a thing, do you think micro anus is a thing? I don't know how that would work.
That would be painful.
Kyra wants to know, do you watch ice hockey? I don't. I'm not a hockey fan.
Curling. Curling is what to watch.
Hey, Scribe. Damn it, it rolled up.
No.
Hey, Scribe, for the chat, I'm calling this Scribe's Lighthouse. What do you think?
You can call it whatever you like. That won't get me won't get my channel terminated. That's fine.
Damn it! Why does the chat keep jumping on me?
I don't know.
Where did that go? Can I start a campaign claiming that Donkey Kong is a racist depiction of apes? I suppose so.
It's bad against Harambe.
Net wants to know if I have a micro penis. I am well within the norm. Let me put it that way for you.
Yeah.
What happened to the guy that tried to dox Monkey? I don't know. I hope he got hit by a car.
Oh,
I don't want him to die. I just want him to be hit by a car and laid up for a few months. Oh, you got a super chat there?
Aha. Thank you, Ashley Mented. I do know the rotation now, by the way. I do have a question, though. Which universe would you like to live in between DC, Marvel, or Dragon Ball Z? Marvel.
Marvel.
Those are my choices, Marvel. Because I always thought Marvel was, well, I don't know about the modern social justice vein going on at Marvel, but classic sort of late 90s, early 2000s Marvel was probably my favorite era, so to speak.
I'm going Marvel.
She said she's going Marvel.
Marvel, yeah.
Flair wants to know my dick size without making a joke. I refer you to my previous answer. Quill wants to know if I've killed any bats lately. I've never killed a bat that I know about. That bat was alive when it left my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm irreparably damaged. And I'm upset about it. I was just trying to fucking say hi to you, Monkey. And
you guys could hear that bat on stream.
Yes.
No, that's some of the funniest shit that's ever happened on these streams.
That goddamn bat was huge. Would you consider going on Tonka Saw's morning commute? Yeah.
You have to be up in the morning?
Yeah, who's that?
Tonka Saw, he hangs out with, what the fuck is his name? Failure Accomplished and Vamp Candy. Monkey, who wins the Stanley Cup? I literally know nothing about hockey. Well, that's not true. I know the Red Wings are incredibly popular in this state because their football team sucks, so they have to grab onto something. The Jack Cochran says, have you ever seen a picture of an anal fistule? No, not that I know.
We were looking at x-rays last night.
I don't want to fucking know what that is.
Have you guys played the Switch? Yes, we have one.
I have not.
I don't have one.
Oh my God, there are a ton of questions here.
Oh boy, we said AMA.
Yeah.
What do we
okay,
think
the next
about
question.
Tommy Lauren? I think I don't know much.
She's cute, but I don't pay much attention to her.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, she's got more attention, I think, because of her looks and her shock value, sort of like blunt delivery than anything else. I don't.
Yeah, she's a lot like Candace Owens in that way, where she just says the right thing.
Mhm.
You know, she knows her audience, and she's saying basically what everybody else says, but she's just yelling it in a nasally voice.
Nothing for you here wants to know what we think about the way people treat their supposed opposition groups, left versus right, MRA versus feminism, etc. I think people, and we've discussed this before. I think people, it's fine to have your arguments. It's even fine to shitpost some, but you still need to remember that the person on the other end most likely thinks they're doing things for the right reason. They might be a complete fucking retard,
right?
But they're still people.
Yeah, I mean, few people believe themselves to be the villain of the story, so you got to approach it like, I mean, it doesn't make what they're saying necessarily true or anything else, but you know, if for most people, I mean, some people are doing it just to be a provocateur, and sometimes you can tell those people apart from somebody who's a true believer. But in general terms, if you're going to approach your opposition, first understand they think, usually, truthfully, that they are doing the good thing.
Yep.
Temper your approach with that thought first and foremost. It might not turn out to be the case, but you're safer doing it than not.
SDA, any thoughts?
Good
talk. Oh.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Snubber says, I remember on Renting Monkey, I remember on a non-Lord of the Night stream, you talked about eventually doing a face reveal. Do you still plan on going through with it? Yes, eventually I do. I actually have a little plan for that.
Oh, really? What is it? I want to know. Will you tell me?
Maybe off stream.
Yay!
W.R. Costin says, would you dox yourself? How far are you from Detroit? Just kidding. I am safely far away from Detroit.
So what he's saying is that he's near white people.
I will tell you that there's a lot of white people around where I live, and it's actually kind of disturbing to me because until we moved here, I never lived in a white area. I'm a Navy brat. We lived with mixes of all kinds of people, mostly with Filipinos, or if you were on the other side of the country, a lot of Mexicans married into military families. Have you ever seen Romeo and Juliet starring Leonardo DiCaprio? No.
Yes, we watched it in 9th grade.
Yep, I saw that a long
Romeo
time
and
ago.
Juliet.
Yep.
It was painful.
Yeah, it's tolerable. It's too flashy. If you really want a really cool Shakespeare sort of reimagining, look up Richard III with Ian McKellen. That's awesome.
I prefer my Shakespeare mostly directly. If I'm watching something that's Shakespeare inspired, go for The Lion King or 10 Things I Hate About You.
Or Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. That's a really good one. Too. That's a good one too.
Jordan wants you and me, Scribe, to describe the greatest sandwiches we've ever made.
The greatest sandwiches we've ever made? Well, that was with Cindy and Lucy.
There you go.
And I was the meat. There you go.
I don't know. Probably something with ham. I eat a lot of sandwiches. Can we make dick realism a topic? What is dick realism?
Fernando says, what is the most embarrassing thing you have ever worn? At one time, very briefly, I was given a New Kids on the Block t-shirt when I was in 3rd grade.
Oh, and you wore it?
I think I wore that twice. I didn't even like the band. I just wore it because I was trying to fit in, but I didn't have it for long, and I didn't wear it much because I couldn't have cared less about New Kids or Vanilla Ice or any other bullshit. I never, because I grew up on my parents' music, and I thought New Kids on the Block was stupid sounding. I was like, no.
And that's fair.
So I wasn't a fan, but somebody, I forget how I got the shirt. Somebody gave it to me, or it was a gift from somebody, and I wore it a couple of times. So I think that's my biggest shame.
Best course of action regarding white nationalists, race realists, and the alt-right. Stop treating them like they fucking matter. Yeah.
I mean, they're sort of like Freddy Krueger. The more you believe in them, the deadlier they are. So just stop caring, and they'll go away.
You can actually see this because somehow they keep records of enrollment for like the Klan, and the Klan goes in ebbs and flows, and they peak anytime they're talked about. Fucking ignore these little bitches. Would I prefer the Doxer be run over by the truck of peace? No, I don't wish death on people very often, unless it's like a horrible child abuser. I wish mean things on them. Like, I think I told this story before. There was a guy who was just driving horribly, and my son was in the car, and I wish that he would go home and find his wife with a dick in her mouth. And my son was like, why would you wish that? I'm like, well, I don't want him to get in an accident that could affect other people.
I like to go with things like, I hope you temporarily lose your keys.
Oh,
like, no, you stub your toe.
Let's see.
Because I feel guilty if I'm like, I hope something bad. Like, I don't want something super bad to happen to people. Just like, I hope you're mildly inconvenienced, and at some point you go, ah, today.
I go for things that amuse me that I also think would ruin their day. Oh, chat just jumped. Somebody said, are bats not protected in the U.S.? Yes, they are. That's why I don't kill bats. I let them go.
Fatally maims them.
I don't know that bat was not on my porch in the morning. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because it was probably eaten by something else.
Survival of the fittest. That's not my problem. Oh my God, there's so many things in here. Guys, if I missed your question, I'm so sorry. Chat jumped, and that's a long way back. Scribe or Scotch, we already answered that about Romeo and Juliet. Would you guys please release your address and social security number? Yeah, we'll get right on that.
No.
Yeah, let me jump on that one.
Favorite Thanksgiving movie? Are there Thanksgiving movies besides the Peanuts one? And did they even have one?
Thanksgiving movies? Well, I think there's Poultrygeist. There's Home for the Holidays. I know there are movies that take place at Thanksgiving. And I know that. I know. Wasn't there like a horror movie that tried to be like Thanksgiving? The horror movie. Not too long ago.
Spunky.
What?
Satsu wants to know if you'll play Final Fantasy with us.
Probably not. I'm not getting back into another MMO. Satsu, right now I am spending way too much time in 7 Days to Die. That game has me hooked.
Because I won't do it, because then I have to give up Kirby. And I can't give up Kirby.
Jacob Jett wants to know our opinion on people who would rather be wrong than speak a harsh truth.
That's right. Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a movie, and there's sequels to that movie, and it's about killer turkeys and stuff, and it's ridiculous. Oh no.
I think people who would rather be wrong than speak a harsh truth are trying to be nice, and in fact are causing more harm than good.
USP 211816 says, Scribelight, are you familiar with the Jersey Devil? I am familiar with the Jersey Devil, or the Leeds Devil, depending on your knowledge of the history of it and how a woman gave birth to a devil creature and it ran out into the woods and the pine barrens of New Jersey and such. And that is, yes, I know a little bit about that. Let's see what else. Oh, Fernanda brings up a cereal is soup question. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Yes.
You know, I saw this on that video. No, a hot dog is not a sandwich. A hot dog in a bun is a sandwich.
Yes.
A hot dog is a sausage.
Well, okay. Yes. Okay. Well, when I think of a hot dog, I think of a hot dog in a bun, not just bites. Like, you know, but yes, a hot dog in a bun. Yes, that's true.
So yes, a hot dog in a bun would be a sandwich.
Yeah. No controversy there.
See, he agrees. Cereal soup, y'all. Are you familiar with the Jersey Devil?
Yeah, I just answered that question.
I missed that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jersey Devil, the Leeds Devil. There's a whole story about it. There's actually a, if you follow the podcast called Lore, they have an episode all about the Jersey Devil.
Nothing for you here wants to know if you're prepared for natural disasters, quakes, fires, floods, etc. The only one we would really have to worry about where I live, specifically my house, would be a blizzard where we couldn't get to the store for days. And in that respect, yeah. There was a quake here in Michigan a couple of years back, and at work it shook my monitor just a little bit.
I guess I'm as prepared as I can be. There's not really so far as I know, there's not any kind of impending or natural feature that would, bring up a disaster as a matter of course. So,
what are our thoughts on the plans for Antifa's bullshit tomorrow?
I forgot to talk about that.
Yeah, there is not enough popcorn in the world to prepare me for tomorrow.
What is their plan?
I don't fucking know.
Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna look at the. Okay, no, I'm not gonna look at the Blaze. The Blaze is that's down. Let me go to someplace neutral, like the Washington Post. Yes, tell me about the Washington Post. What's going on?
If someone dies, I'll care, but if not, meh.
All right. For anyone logging time on the far right corners of the internet, this coming Saturday is not just another autumn weekend, but the potential start date for an apocalyptic showdown. InfoWars has warned Antifa plans civil war to overthrow the government. The John Birch Society put out 2 recent videos warning Americans to, quote, stay home and tell your children to do likewise on Saturday. YouTuber A Glock Fanboy notched more than 400,400 views for a clip raising the alarm about the first day of the revolution or whatnot. Okay. While November 4th has become a rallying point on the conservative landscape, complete with a hashtag Civil War 2017, down on the other far end of the political spectrum, the reality is equally significant. The left-leaning group Refuse Fascism is planning rallies across the country on Saturday, the first step in a large-scale, long-game demonstration organizers hope will achieve nothing less than the unseating of the Trump administration. Quote, we formed this organization around 2 main points. Said Andy Z, one of the group's organizers. One is that the nightmare must end. And second, in the name of humanity, we must refuse to accept fascist America.
Real quick, somebody said, Captain Bramble said, send SDA after Antifa shouting, y'all need Jesus.
That would be awesome.
I like that idea. And thank you, Evil Clipansy. Thoughts on Far Cry 5?
Yeah, it's set in the Midwest against like a cultish kind of racist or something redneck thing this time around.
If they handle it as well as 3, I'll love it. If it's more like 4, I'll be eh.
Yeah, I like 3 a lot. 4
3 was great.
Yeah, 3 was awesome. 4 was kind of it was kind of like Far Cry 3 2 in a way, except that the plot and the bad guy wasn't nearly as interesting. And the subtext wasn't nearly as cool as Far Cry 3. If they're doing it just sort of like we're going to riff off of the paranoia over the alt-right.
Mm-hmm.
I guess whatever. I mean, I usually don't like politics in my video games, but I don't know.
But if it's handled right, you can make a villain out of anyone.
Yeah, right. Make it interesting. I mean, like Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, where it's set in America and everything. So, but yeah, I forgot that tomorrow's the big D-Day for overthrowing the government. But I'll have to keep an eye on that.
I'm sorry. Did anybody ever find out why they decided the 4th of November?
The significance.
Was that the election day last year? Wasn't that the 8th?
Maybe it's like a year after. No, wait. No, I think it wasn't the 9th, 8th or the 9th.
No, the election day was the 8th. Monkeys,
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, but November. I mean, the 5th of November is the whole, remember the 5th of November thing. I don't know if November 4th has some. I'll see if it had some significance.
It's probably just the Saturday that everybody was free.
Anarcho-autism said it was the Bolshevik revolution.
Oh, so it's commies. Got it.
That would make sense.
The commies.
Ned has asked me a couple of times if I've ever watched Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, the only Scooby-Doo series to include a screen character's death. I probably have. I don't remember. I've seen so much Scooby-Doo, I couldn't pick them apart.
Somebody died?
Scooby-Doo is one of my favorite things ever.
Who died on Scooby-Doo?
I don't know, but I used to love Scooby-Doo.
I
still do. Keith wants to know. I don't know. Do you think the Justice League movie will be good? No,
probably not.
No, I don't.
I'm gonna go see it anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be good for two reasons. One, and for reasons that aren't necessarily anybody's fault and more circumstance. The fact that they had to change directors about 3/4 of the way through because Zack Snyder's child died. That's nobody's fault or anything, but I don't think you can maintain a consistent quality of narrative or style that way. So that's a matter of circumstance. But in general, I don't think they can maintain the dark, gritty, Nolanized filter through everything and still have it be a fun superhero movie. I think they fucked it with Man of Steel, and that has set the tone ever since. And even though Wonder Woman did well, apparently, and was liked better, I don't know that they can save the franchise unless this movie completely kills it. And given their track record thus far, I would be surprised if that's the case.
Monkey, I have a question about Scooby-Doo for you.
Sure.
Because there's a couple of movies that I remember that a lot of people don't seem to remember, like, just because Scooby-Doo is a fuck ton of movies. Do you remember the one with, like, the cat ladies on the island?
Josie and the Pussycats, yeah.
Maybe? Or the ladies, like, turn into creepy cats.
Oh, no, that one I don't.
Then there's also one where, like, it's got, like, a lot of 60s stuff, and, like, they're in a desert.
Well, that's a lot of them. I don't remember necessarily. Oh, Zenith for the win. Zombie Island.
Yeah, is that it?
And that said it right after. Yeah, there you go. Wow, lots of people know that one.
I think that's it. Yeah, Zombie Island was it creeped me out as a kid, but I fucking loved it. I think that might be like my first. Was it Vampire Rock that I'm thinking of?
Everybody likes that. For me,
and I also loved the Hex Girls.
The ultimate Scooby-Doo was when they met Batman, because I'm a huge Batman fan. But next to that was the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, yeah. The Globetrotters. Oh, man.
Scooby-Doo at the Globetrotters is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Does anybody actually go to the Globetrotters anymore? Are they still a thing?
They were last I knew.
Okay.
A couple of years ago.
I'm so glad, like, because I've asked so many people, like, do you remember the one where, like, the ladies turned into, like, zombie cats? And everybody's like, no, you're insane. And I'm like, I swear it's a thing.
How many times do I have to tell the both of you this? If you want to know something, ask our chat. They know everything.
Yeah.
I'm really glad.
Oh, Scooby-Doo meets Don Knotts, yes.
Oh, Don Knotts.
Yeah, the second one I mentioned, I think, is Vampire Rocks. I also The Scooby-Doo movie with the Hex Girls was fun too. And there was also a Scooby-Doo, I think it was a newer one, that completely rips off Phantom of the Opera.
Mm.
And by completely rips, I mean like not like rips it off as in like they're pretending like it's not a reference to Phantom of the Opera, but it is. But I think it's newer, and I don't remember liking it quite as much.
Shaggy wore a red shirt for a while in the 80s. I didn't know that.
Oh, that's
Really?
right. Yeah, he did. I remember that. 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo was the best series with Vincent Price. That's all there is to it. Except for Scrappy-Doo. Fuck that kid.
Net says the Hex Girls appeared in both Witch's Ghost and Vampire Rocks. So there you go. I'm not as much of a fan of the newer ones because there's actual ghosts in them.
Right. It's got to be about
in all of the
faking
originals.
it.
Yeah, there was never an actual ghost. That's why I didn't like the movie. Is because there was actual shit. No, fuck that. I like them pulling off the mask at the end and it making no fucking sense how they did it.
Yeah, you know, because that's kind of like the thing with Scooby-Doo, right? It's always some guy who's disgruntled about something.
Trying to get
always like
insurance
a
money from the
land deal
amusement
or-
park.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like this old disgruntled owner from like this thing that you didn't know about until now, and then it's like, oh, that makes so much sense, and you're like, I guess.
Talking to kids about insurance scams. I fucking love it.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it is. I bet somebody has compiled this, but I'd be really curious to know how many amusement parks Scooby-Doo has saved over the course of his career.
I don't know.
I'm really curious to know
Tons
how
of
many
them.
amusement parks. Yeah. Yes, Jim Healis, those meddling kids. Yeah, those meddling Russians.
Yeah.
Well, that's always, I mean, isn't that what everybody thinks of when they hear like the Russians meddling in the election?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and they're dumb dog too.
Yeah, that is the only time I ever heard the word meddling with any regularity as I was growing up. And
Yeah, same.
it is so associated with cheeseball Scooby-Doo stuff that when I hear it in the news, I just can't take it seriously. Thank you, Zenith. How could your friends not know about Zombie Island? That's like the most well-known modern Scooby-Doo movie.
You know, Zenith, you're like a little bit older than me. And by a little, like you're a couple years older than me, and maybe that makes a difference. When did it come out?
Oh, the early 2000s, I think. Wasn't it? Or late 90s? Something like that?
It was probably the late 90s. So maybe it's like, when did it come out? 1998. So
1990, yeah.
The Jack
I don't
Cochran.
know.
When I go ghost hunting, I take note of the first person to warn me away. That guy did it. Whatever happens, that guy did it.
Yes. Yeah. That's some good detective work.
It might be I don't know, maybe a generational thing. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. Because I feel like if there's a Scooby-Doo movie, like those movies from like the early and late 90s would be the ones that kids my age watched, but nobody knew about the zombie one. And I watched Cyber Chase, and I kind of had a love-hate relationship with it, because some days I was like, I fucking love Cyber Chase, and then some days I was like, this is fucking, I don't like it.
What is Cyber Chase?
It's a kid's show.
Oh, okay.
It's probably a show that your kids know about.
Mm.
It was coming out when like Dragon Tales and all that was coming out. Did anybody I fucking loved Dragon Tales. That shit was my jam.
2-minute warning, everybody.
Dragon Tales was the bomb.
Which sandwich is bigger, the one made by Dagwood or the one made by Shaggy? The one made by Shaggy, of course.
Do you guys remember the Wonder Pets? I can still sing the Wonder Pets theme song.
I don't remember the Wonder Pets.
I was sick.
Sing it.
One week. No.
Oh.
I was.
Why would you say that then?
Well, because I can. Like, it's just because I can do a backflip. It doesn't mean I fucking have to. She should calm down. I was sick one week, and I think it was right after I got my tonsils taken out. So I was like 8, which is a little bit older than like the Wonder Pets target audience. But Dora and the Wonder Pets were all that were on for like the entirety of that week. So I watched a lot of fucking Wonder Pets.
Let's see. We're about at the top of the hour, so yes, I guess Wonder Pets is where we'll have to call it. Wonder Pets, Wonder Twins, Dora the
Wonder Twin
Explorer.
powers activate.
Yeah, Michael Bay making a Dora the Explorer movie. It's coming. It was a
I
joke
remember
before.
Zaboomafoo. I remember that.
Oh no. Okay, well,
I remember that too.
I see
No.
the boom mofo.
I remember Captain Kangaroo, but that just makes me old. Well, thank everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Moderators, thank you so much for keeping an eye on things. Everybody who donated, thank you so much. I'll be working to get your ads ready for tomorrow night's show. We're on Monkey's channel tomorrow night,
Yes.
9 p.m. Eastern, per usual. Let's see.
Lock up your trash cans.
Yeah, lock up your trash cans. If you're anywhere near a major metropolitan area, protect your trash cans because Antifa's coming. Remember the 4th of November.
Are going to fuck your trash cans up.
Yeah, get ready because the revolution happens tomorrow. Trump will no longer be president as of midnight on November 5th because Antifa is going to unseat him somehow with trash cans.
Yeah, I mean, the report's going to be no casualties today.
Yeah.
But the trash cans have taken some major losses.
I want to see a Scooby-Doo unmask some black bloc riders, but that's something else. Jordan 250, get working on a graphic of that one. Anyway, thanks guys so much. Thank you for coming out as always, and we will see you tomorrow. Good night.
Bye guys.